when a private equity manager is looking at a transaction, he will not only look at the transaction as interesting in terms of returns, but this transaction, this company that I'm looking to buy or to acquire for my fund, is it going to be impacted in the coming days, weeks, years, decades by artificial intelligence?
Today, I have the pleasure to welcome in the studio Femy Mouftaou, who is Head of Fund Strategy Continental Europe and Managing Director AIFM France at IQAQ. Welcome.
Thank you, welcome.
So you were just at AIFM in Cannes. What have you learned there?
You know, AIFM is happening in Cannes, in France, in Europe, and it is this scene, this event where you have all big asset managers, all big GPs coming at one place during 3 days with a lot of interaction. So yes, what I have learned, well, many things were being discussed, like every year, interesting transactions happening, many things discussed. Well, the three things that I have seen that are for me quite important is first, a lot of discussion about newcomers to this market space, and as well new structures, new type of funds or whatsoever. The second trend was really on typical innovation. I will speak about AI. And the third trend, an important one, was what the so-called retailization of the private market.
Yeah, for those who are not used to it, retailization is the fact that the market is lowering the barrier to entry, allowing smaller investors to invest in private markets. So let's start maybe with the newcomers.
Well, you know, you could see in AIFM this year that there were some providers that have even a booth in a place. Provider like AIFM or iCapital doing a lot of important marketing. It's important to know that those newcomers, they are actually platforms offering sort of marketplace where you can connect and invest into large funds. So it's interesting to see that they have become, over the year, an actor and as well a new solution to raise capital for those funds. So those for me are newcomers.
And did you see new structures?
Yes, a lot of, well, it has been discussed a lot and I think everywhere and every day over the 3 days, evergreen structures. Evergreen structure, open-ended structures, semi-liquid structures. So I repeat, evergreen, open-ended, semi-structure, private asset, management of liquidity, offering certain windows of liquidity for life insurers. So all those things were discussed as new way to manage those private assets and to set up funds and to launch them.
Very good. So that takes us to the second trend, which is innovation.
Well, innovation, I'm sure you will know that better than I do probably. Artificial intelligence is definitely being discussed. Why? Well, it is impacting the industry in two ways. First, before starting, I think an industry like the asset management or the private market, they cannot work or ignore this trend. We all agree. So the first way it is impacting this industry is on the tool, the way they manage, they monitor, they analyze the company, they do the business plan, they review the target, they review the KPIs. There's a lot of data, actually. It's a lot of data. When a private equity fund wants to invest into a secondary transactions, there's a lot of data. Currently, the data is being analyzed by analysts, by investment management portfolio. Now, they are considering, if not already doing, this analysis with artificial intelligence tool.
Of course.
The second way, so first way, using it as a tool, and the second way is looking at it as a potential investment. When a private equity manager is looking at a transaction, he will not only look at the transaction as interesting in terms of returns, but this transaction, this company that I'm looking to buy or to acquire for my fund, is it going to be impacted in the coming days, weeks, years, decades by artificial intelligence?
You know, does it have?
Yes. Is it going to be still there? That's exactly the the questions and the impact.
Yeah, you could compare it with Uber at the time, where of course they did not invent the taxi business, but they invented the super software. It's a bit the same now. Investors are looking for great ideas, great implementation,
Yes.
but also an underlying AI technology to scale better.
Exactly. If you're yourself an asset manager, would you buy a taxi company in Germany today that doesn't have an app to locate and order the taxi? No. Uber has impacted this market. It's the same for AI.
Yeah, and so there's a question I think many people in Luxembourg are asking themselves is, how do you see the impact on the Luxembourg market of this AI?
Well, it is, we have a house of startups in Luxembourg. So we have many companies that are already looking how to make efficient the different activities of the classic service provider to the industry. Yes, it is already impacting, but it will impact more and more in the future. I think that's probably obvious for everyone. On the transaction side, everything that is manual that can be done. On the analysis side as well. An example, you know, when all service providers, they have to remain compliant with the law, of course, and to do that, they screen the names against sanction list. This is cumbersome. This is heavy. You have hits or not hits, and then you need to analyze the hit. This analysis can already be done by AI.
Much faster.
Yeah. So of course, the people today that are doing that manually, sooner or later, they will have to probably feed the AI, teach the AI to do so.
And maybe use the time for a task where there's more added value. So the last trend, the retailization. Can you explain how this is impacting the industry?
Well, it's coming from a trend that was there already 2 years ago, where all the players, they have decided to say, listen, we have products. We are not struggling to raise capital, but it's a bit slower, or it takes more time. Instead of 12 months, now we need 2 years to raise our capital and to close our funds. So then they have started to look at alternative type of source of money, and then the idea of the retail market came out, and actually the regulation is changing as well. We have now the LTV version 2, let's say, that allows as well a bit of more retail investors. So this idea came quite naturally, and it's quite attractive to think that you could think about it. You could offer a bit of the private equity returns to investors that are you and me.
Exactly.
So it's a new source. It's being discussed. However, this triggers interesting discussions about the complexity of that. First, retail means volumes. Retail means that they are not professional, that they need to be protected, like in a UCITS. Sometimes they need to be able to take back their cash or their money, depending on the market conditions. So we need to have some investor protections. So it's a project. It is in the making. It is in the making. And what is happening today, and the discussions at AIFM were around that, is how can we make those retail investors to invest in a compliant manner in our products.
Exactly. Perfect. So just to conclude, we see every day that the current geopolitical international context is completely wild. So basically, where is the private market going right now?
You know, when I was a bit working and around the alleys of AIFM, what is quite sure, and what I've seen and heard discussing with big players, is that what the tools that we know, the continuation vehicles. The continuation vehicle is those tools that were used in the past to place discounted assets. Now they are used to keep a good asset, or to make sure that the asset maintain a good valuation. People may think that continuation vehicle was post-COVID and it's not anymore the case. No, it's still being discussed as a potential option for specific cases. The second thing that I've seen, and I remember a discussion I had with an asset manager in the US, is the LBO-led transactions. You know, we all know the techniques. You are leverage, and then this leverage allows you to buy the transaction. there have been discussions about is it still a good tool? It is. And especially with the interest rate going down. So LBO-led transactions are still in the agenda of many players. Well, interesting enough, and that probably will be very interesting for many of our people listening to this video. What is interesting that pharma and biotech, healthcare, health tech are clearly new type of asset that meets quite a lot of interest. So that's the trends. Those are the trends that I've seen and going forward. But there is something new. Before I close down and answering your question, on top of continuation vehicle, the elbow-led transactions, those new asset classes like pharma, biotech, health tech, there are clearly discussions about the rise of trade protectionism. In the world. Because trade protectionism, and we've seen what is happening in the geopolitical world today.
With tariffs, yes.
With tariff and trades, will have, or may have, anyway, must be considered as a potential impact for the supply chain, for example, for any company you have in your portfolio that is exporting massively their services and products, and so on and so on. So it's a discussion. I would not say it's a trend, but it's a discussion, and it's a new element, it's a new variable that need to be considered when it comes to prepare, launch, and set up a fund.
Very good. So if I wrap it up, we saw that there are newcomers, new vehicles. We saw there's a big impact of innovation.
Yes.
We saw that the retailization is continuing. Then you mentioned a little bit about continuation vehicles, LBO, or those new trade potential wars. And I think we can agree that in the current context, what you felt was some cautious optimism in the industry.
Cautious optimism is a good word. It's exactly it's not what I've heard. It was a feeling that I got from the conversation. But there is one thing that is important to mention: cautious optimism, but as well, the alternative industry is made, because of this long-term stage, is made to go through all trends that could have a negative impact short-term, but a good impact long-term. Don't forget the G curve of the private equity, this G curve. It's something that was still discussed because it's the core of the business, and the G curve is at the end positive.
Very good. So thank you very much for your time and for sharing what you've learned in Cannes at AIFM.
Thank you. Thank you very much.